the way we've balanced it for most people, where if you try to run and shoot like a headless chicken, you'll have a hard time. It's more tactical type of shooter and whatnot. And we also have the last mode that is Give Me Deus Ex, which is going to be Deus Ex big time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
How's it going? You guys described the game as an RPG, so my question is, how much can the story branch off, and how big of a hand does the player have in that?
Right. It's actually an action RPG, so it's not a full-blown RPG, so let's not be confused with that. But in terms of the story, there will be several choices that you'll have to make through the course of the game, where it's going to influence some part of how certain aspects of the story are being told. So it's not a multi-branching story that goes from like one side to the other side totally. We would still be making this game for the next 10 years if we were doing that. It can become really massive. But it was really important that like the overall story is the same for everyone, but how the story is being told and what you experience personally is going to be crafted with your choices and how you play the game. And without going into the details, of course, the endings will be part of that as well.
Thank you.
Hey, I work at GameStop and I've been getting a lot of guff about the push release date, but recently I got a message from Square Enix saying that the game was 23rd August. Is that a hard date for sure?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
We have no excuses anymore, we need to shoot.
Yeah. And the reason why we did this is because we want you guys to go outside this summer, so
do some sports.
That's why. That's what they told me.
Right, so in the first game, there were a lot of like kind of philosophical conversations with NPCs where, you know, it would kind of make you feel like you were getting smarter while you were running around blowing people's heads off with a sawed-off shotgun. But are there going to be any more like philosophical conversations with NPCs in Human Revolution, or?
That'd be a question for Mary.
Yeah, actually, yeah, there will be quite a lot actually. Depending on what you do, of course, if you just stick on some of the main missions, you'll have some of those features and whatnot, but if you go beyond the limits of the critical path, you'll get way more, not only in the dialogues, but also in the text that you can find, and the newspapers and whatnot, and so it can be really expensive, and you can really dig into several things. And in terms of the side quests that we have in the game, they're not disconnected from the main story. They don't go like, hey, I need a pint of milk at the grocery store.
Go kill the rats.
Exactly. No, it's really more. There's nothing wrong about that. It can be really fun. But for our game, it was really important to have a chance to expand the themes and on the characters and things, and that you can learn more. And by the end of the game, maybe you're more educated in terms of what you feel is going to be the right thing to do for you or whatnot.
Hi, I noticed that there was a lot of similarities between this Jensen and the first game's Jensen, like the same.
Denton.
Pardon?
Denton.
Oh, Denton. Sorry.
That's gonna go in the forum.
Well, is there any will there be any relation between Jensen and Denton from the first game?
It's a good question.
Conspiracy.
I mean, it's a really good question.
Thank you. Sorry. Yeah.
All right. So one of the things I really liked about the first Deus Ex was its active modding community. Now, there were tweak mods like Shifter and Smoke 39 that I thought really enhanced the experience, and then there were bigger projects, total inversions like the Nameless mod, which I worked on.
Cool.
And then Invisible War, which of course had zero modding support, and I found it really sad. Now, are you guys doing anything to reach out to the modding community or no?
For the moment, there's nothing planned. Okay, that's the final answer for that. For now. Yeah.
You guys hiring? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
So my question was, ask earlier, but which augmentation would you each get if you could get one?
Don't want me to answer that?
The X-ray.
And do you know which one your boss would get?
The social enhancement.
You did not just say that.
That's not true. That's not true.
Wow, that's one of the highlights of my life right now. Wow.
Yeah, I got a question about the health and damage system. I remember in the first Deus Ex, each body part had like its own bar, and if you get shot in the head, then your vision gets blurry, and if you get shot in the arm, then your accuracy sucks or something like that. Is there going to be any sort of feature like that in Human Revolution?
No, we went for a unified system because obviously there are other level of management that comes with it that can be really I would say not slow, but it's something that it demands more of you. It's more demanding, generally speaking, and we really wanted to focus the experience onto the challenges that you have ahead of you. We didn't want the game to become a quest of let's try to find back the med pack or the thing to help myself, to heal myself before moving on, or things like it happened to me back in the day where I didn't have anything anymore and I was stuck into...
You had no more legs.
No more legs, and I was stuck into a track of a train, and you cannot continue to play. You have to reload one of your previous save type of thing, and that's something that we wanted to...
Which is cool. I mean, you know, PC back then, whatever, you know, it was like all people like us, you know, but...
So in that sense, it's more straightforward, and it keeps you into what you're actually doing as opposed as going on a fetch quest for...
Yeah. Thanks for having stopping me there. I probably would have said something stupid.
So does your health...
Yeah, I'm just an art director.
So does your health recharge over time, or do you have to look for med packs or some...
Like John said during the demo, we have some pills that can boost your health over the 100% bar, or if you're low, you can add some, but over time it regenerates. But the way we balanced it, don't take it for something that it's going to ease your life, trust me.
Okay, thanks.
I made it look easy today, but it's not.
No, but the combat's brutal, very brutal and challenging, definitely, even with a health regenerating system.
Yeah.
It's Deus Ex. It's Deus Ex.
I was just curious about how important the dialogue is, because in the first Deus Ex it was there, but the emphasis was on exploring the game world and going through with different paths and whatnot, and not so much on persuading the guard to let you through or stuff like that. So
I think what we have is kind of a mix of several things. You can talk to people to get more information about things. Some people will ask for a bribe or things like that. You can also meet people, like I said, for some of the side quests where you can expand on possibilities. We also have those what we call kind of social boss fights, in which you try to get something out of someone that is really reluctant to help you. And this gameplay is a little bit more sophisticated than the other ones I spoke about, where it's more psychological kind of gameplay, where it's not a puzzle that you go left, right, and then you win the conversation. You really need to pay attention to what the guy is saying, why he's not willing to help you, and you try to break his kind of defense, psychologically speaking, until he helps you out and whatnot. So we have multitudes of possibilities in terms of social that is not in one direction, just one type of thing. So we have different levels for that.
And real quick, when you mentioned regenerating health, is it like Call of Duty where you sit behind the box and the jam comes off of your face? Or?
It's I mean, it's the same principle in the sense that it regenerates, but the way we're tweaking the enemies and how we're balancing the game, everybody that plays it so far, nobody complained about it. Like, I mean, it's on paper, it looks like, oh my god, it's going to destroy, to ruin the experience, right? But when you actually play the game, it's a totally different experience, and you really forget about that, and you're happy to have it.
Yeah, we've had conclusions. about. It's easy to jump to conclusions about regenerating health.
We've had some pretty big hardcore fans trying it out, that were really kind of against the whole health regeneration. And once they got into it and they got the feeling of that new Deus Ex and how it plays out with the combat, it just kind of flows with it, and they never really complain about it. It's like it almost becomes transparent.
And it's way slower than it is in real games.
It goes like this. 1, 2. Jeff was giving an interview once, and the guy asked, "How long does it take to regenerate?" And he literally started going, "Well, 1, 2." And then I'm like, "Are you really doing that?"
I wanted him to have the real experience. But no, seriously, I think once you play the game, this concern kind of goes away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Adam Jensen.
Hey, Adam.
What are some of your major artistic directions, as in movies, books, or other video games?
Tons of stuff, really. Always try to make something a little kind of different. So I'm really big into, industrial design, architecture. I go see all sorts of weird art exhibition and shit like that, just to try to get something that's, it's not about, hey, let's make the rocket launcher like in the other game, but with like a bigger texture. That's not our direction. You know what I mean? So the thing, for example, with this one, when I noticed that it was like this link between the Renaissance era and transhumanism, because the Renaissance is about kind of like understanding the human machine and the human body and whatnot, and transhumanism is about upgrading it. Like in order to upgrade a system, you need to know how the system functions at its foundation. So I saw kind of like a link between the two eras, if you want, and I said, hey, let's try to mix cyberpunk with some like aesthetics element of the Renaissance and the Baroque, and then we coin that term kind of cyber Renaissance. And that's a bit what I mean, like cyberpunk had been a bit dormant at that point when we started in 2007, and I didn't want to just bring back, just Ghost in the Shell or Blade Runner or whatever, which would have been fine, but it's kind of been done. So we decided, let's bring that back, but let's add our own flavor to it. So I guess my long answer to say that my references are always like so many things that are very rarely directly game related. It's like I look at all sorts of stuff, then I try to funnel it down into the video game language, really.
You want to learn more? Follow him on Twitter.
Yeah.
Plug. Well, you post a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Design.
That's very true. I don't know why I asked why, actually. Yeah. No, but really, just like also like just get into like the real stuff, like industrial design, art history, history as a whole. Go see operas. Like the art direction of operas is insane what they do in those stages. Because if we just look at games, it's circular. It's like we always look at ourselves in the mirror, and I look the same every morning. And that's it. That didn't make much sense. Yeah.
So, unfortunately, we only have time for one more really quick question. So, I'm having fun too. You're having fun.
Thank you. Another one of those, like the first Deus Ex questions. Other than running around and chopping down doors and slicing up people with a giant blue sword, I love the grenades. The fact that you could not only toss them, but also plant them as mines. Are grenades going to be able to be used like that, where it's just where you can plant a grenade on a wall and boom, it becomes a mine? Or are they two separate items?
Good question.
Yeah, two separate items. You've seen me disabling one on the wall and picking it up. This one has been already combined by the enemy or whatnot, but we have what we call mine templates in the game, where you can stick them on any kind of walls that you want, and you can combine it with the different types of grenade that we have. So if you have a frag grenade and you want to put it in there, or you have a gas grenade or things like that, and you stick it wherever you want, and you make your own combination, basically.
Awesome!
Thank you. Good way to end it. Everyone, let's give Jonathan and JF a hand here. Thank you guys.
I just want to say that we have one of our friends of Deus Ex team, Steven Chiola.
That's one of our level designers.
Yeah. Made a surprise. I didn't know you were here. Hi, Steven.
You were the one heckling me.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
So like I said, Deus Ex Human Revolution comes out August 23rd. We have an augmented edition, which will have extra bonuses in there. And also, we're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. There's the augmented edition right there. And follow us on Facebook, like I said, facebook.com/DeusEx, twitter.com/IdlesMontreal, youtube.com/IdlesMontreal, and there's mine, twitter.com/ClarityGray. I'll be walking around PAX tomorrow and this afternoon, so if you didn't get a shirt, just follow me on there and I'll give you some ideas of where I am and I'll be handing stuff out. So thank you very much and enjoy PAX.